Good evening. Chris Lee of Southeastern 16, joined by Blake Lovell and Max Barr. We got some wild and crazy action in the SEC on Saturday night. Alabama has just finished off Arkansas in Fayetteville. Bama nearly blew an 18-point lead in the final 7 minutes, but hung on to win. Meanwhile, speaking of blown leads, LSU up 11 inside 4 minutes. Loses at home to Ole Miss. If you turn that one off, you missed all the fun. Other games earlier today, Tennessee knocks off Oklahoma. A&M wins at Missouri. Kentucky routs South Carolina in Lexington. Mississippi State goes on the road, beats Georgia in the final seconds. And Vanderbilt holds off Texas in Nashville. Vanderbilt down 10 in the second half, comes back and wins. Blake Lovell, that'll be standing Blake Lovell. Start us off. Where would you like to go tonight?
I'm not standing right now, but just for just so everyone knows, because there are going to be people probably watching this who maybe have not watched today. Like, we've already done 2 other live streams. So he just mentioned all the different games. Keep in mind, we've already talked about Tennessee, Oklahoma, Kentucky, South Carolina in a separate video. We talked about Missouri, Texas A&M, Auburn, Florida in another video. So just keep that in mind. We're not going to get into those games in depth. You know how the primetime works these days. We're going to mainly talk about these primetime games, circle back around anything else we didn't talk about. This will probably be one of our shorter primetime ones. So just giving you guys a heads up on that, since it's a late start as usual. But all right, where are we going to start? We're going to start with this game because it's like one of those things I always say. What's the number one rule of Twitter? Don't tweet. Because I sent out a tweet with 5 minutes to go in the game. I said Auburn and Alabama are going to be ranked as the number 1 and number 2 teams in the country. It's going to be the biggest regular season game they've ever played. I said college basketball cinema. And then Arkansas proceeded to go on a 50,000-0 run to make this game interesting. And everybody's replying like, oh my goodness, you put the ultimate jinx on Alabama. Delete the tweet. No, I left the tweet up because I wanted to see if it would hold. It did. But man, Alabama always makes these things interesting. I'm not sure why, but they do. But give Arkansas some credit here too. All right, we'll talk about both sides. But the Hogs are showing a fight, I think, that we've been wanting to see all season. They've shown it consistently now. Big Z is the man. As we said before, the more involved they get him, I think the better offensively at this point. So, yeah, I think it's – and by the way, I know some people are talking about in the comments about the whole rankings in the AP poll.
Yep.
I completely disagree with some thoughts out there on what the AP poll is going to look like next week. So I will give my thoughts on that shortly. We're not going to get into it just yet, but I'm not sure what some people think, what they're seeing, and why they think the AP poll is going to change dramatically. I don't think it's going to change hardly at all. So we'll get to that. Anyways, Max, continue.
I was just going to kind of open up with, holy smokes, what a Saturday. I mean, only 2 home teams won.
Man.
Welcome to the SEC, guys. Only 2 home teams won. Road teams went 6-2 today. Right when you think you can start leaning on home court advantage. Right when you think you have this league pinned down. Right when you think you know what's going to happen. No, you don't. No, you don't. Right when you think LSU's going to finally grab a big one at home. Nope.
Well, and to top it off, let's see. I mean, Missouri was unbeaten at home until today, correct?
Yep.
And Tennessee was one of those teams that, like, rode home. It did not always look great on the road. So, yeah, I mean, it's just hard to know. I mean, we joke about the picks contest, and I got killed for picking. No joking here. But if we did, you guys might have been killing me on that Oklahoma pick today. But, hey, look, it's the SEC. Crazy stuff can happen. And again, LSU. I hate to say it, LSU kind of deserved to lose that game. As dumb as it played late.
Oh, jeez. I'm calling LSU.
Did you watch it? Because I was watching it.
Left. they had a 98.2% chance of winning on ESPN. 98.2. And
With how much left?
250 something.
Well, you just don't do dumb stuff, and you're not in that spot. The chess technical, the Sears flagrant. I mean, completely needless. I get that the Sears one might have been retaliation for something, but like it is
Chess
universal
was so
law.
stupid.
The officials see the second thing and not the first. And that, I know that sounds harsh, but that's why I said LSU sort of deserved to lose that game. By the way, taking nothing away from Ole Miss. Dre Davis with the tip of the buzzer. Sean Pedulla was doing Sean Pedulla things, getting to the rack. Thought he was going to hit that. He didn't, but Davis had his back. Yeah.
All right, just quickly. Just hold on a second. Justin, I don't know what you're talking about here. Where did I say Alabama wouldn't be number one? I said I disagree with what someone said on the broadcast, and we're going to get to that. I never said I didn't say Alabama would be number one. There's something else that I disagree with, which is why I said there are some people out there who seem to think the poll is going to change dramatically. Didn't say Alabama wouldn't be number one. I'm saying there's another move that people seem to think is going to happen that I don't think is going to happen. So we'll get to that shortly. So just saying, there is another interesting thought out there, I think. So we'll get to it. We'll get there.
I like that. I like the chat today. Coming in hot, passionate. Someone was asking about the picks. There's a tie. Blake and I are tied right now. So no one has the all-out lead. Blake picked up a game on me. Not too happy about it.
Well, where's Chris at?
You and I are 57 and 22. Chris is 54 and 25.
Ooh.
Now, got some games to make up.
Chris.
Got some games to make up.
See,
the bad thing about taking chances, when you take them and they don't work out, I was one game behind coming into today, and then I went and did that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's interesting. That's all right.
Well, we all picked the Tide here on the road, and I was a little bit nervous going in because I was like, "Oh my goodness, what's this spread? I only have a possession or two possessions maybe, and we're all unanimously picking the short road favorite against a team that's hot, where the building's just going to be absolutely bonkers. We're all just unanimously picking that road team. Nothing could go wrong. Well, it almost did, but too little, too late." Blake, thoughts on what we saw there winding down?
Yeah, I mean, it was, again, I think it's one of those where I think it was just Arkansas, man. I keep looking at the way they're playing now, and I mean, they're right there. I mean, look at the consistency. We haven't seen consistency from Arkansas in a while. Everybody in the chat, I finally moved inside. It's a miracle. Blake has built a house. Guys, I'm not at home right now. That's why you see me indoors. But yeah, that's we've been broadcasting today from, I don't know how many streams we've done, 4 or 5 now, but I've been in a different location every single time. So that's how it's gone today. But every location's been different. I was Pat McAfee style earlier, standing. Now I'm sitting, and it's just kind of, it's kind of wild. But all right. But yeah, as for this game, I think, look, Arkansas showed no quit here, and I think that's what's going to keep Arkansas in the mix to try to make a push for an NCAA tournament bid. We knew it was still kind of an uphill climb, but we said it's within the context of everybody else around you, and I still think their overall resume by the end of SEC play, if they can get to 7 wins, which I think they're going to get at least one more. I think they're going to beat LSU on Wednesday. And then, you look at the remaining games they have. Like, you just got to go find some wins somewhere. And if they do that, if they play like this, they're going to get those wins. And I think for Alabama, look, am I going to be, saying, oh, man, Alabama only won by 4? No, it's a road win in the SEC. You'll take it any way you can get it. And as we said, the road teams just kind of found the way today. In some of these games, like, again, you're thinking, oh, boy, is Alabama going to give this up late against Arkansas? Is Ole Miss going to have a chance to beat LSU? LSU seemed like they had it in the bag, and then that's kind of where we're at now. So, yeah, I think I come out of this actually feeling still pretty good about Arkansas moving forward. Even though, again, Alabama controlled that game for a bit in the second half. I mean, Arkansas just made a run late, but still, I think you're seeing that from Arkansas, though. It's finally getting a little bit of that confidence. Meanwhile, for Alabama, I mean, they're just they're just winning games, and I think at this point, you just win games. No matter how you can get them, you win games and you move forward. And like I said, they're going to have a chance to be number one team in the country on Monday. So.
Yeah, when it comes to Arkansas, I kind of felt there maybe start of the second half when Alabama just kind of shot out and kind of ran away with the lead real quick there. It felt like I blinked and it was like, whoa, that happened fast. I thought it was a little bit of just the gas wasn't in the tank anymore. You give your heart and soul at Rupp. You win that. Then you got to go to Moody and you give everything you have. You win that. You go through, what was it, a 5-6 minute drought in the first half against Alabama at home, and you're in the ball game. And it's just like the amount of energy and effort that was asked of these guys literally just in the past 7 days. Felt like the gas tanks ran out a little bit there towards the end, but then they made another push. So it was like, man, I'm really impressed with the fight of Arkansas because of what we saw earlier in the season, where you're like, where's this effort? Where's the toughness? Where's the physicality? A Duke Thero needs some help here, guys. Well, Billy Richmond says, I'm here to stay. I'm loving what I'm seeing from Billy. The physicality, I like it, guys.
Richmond's the one that had the dunk, wasn't he?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that was something. Max, I think you just hit on the key. Bench points, 31-11 Alabama. 3-point game.
All right, I'm gonna pull up the Billy. I'm gonna pull up the Billy dunk just because I know they lost, but we love Billy here and we love a good dunk. Just check this out. Here he comes.
Big baller Brad hiding his eye right now.
Oh, Billy! One more for the people, for the fans. Give me a break. That is just.
There you go.
Stuff you love to see. Billy Richmond.
All right. Let's get quickly. Did you get to the super chat, Max? Or I don't remember if we got to this one. Corey, $4.99. We appreciate it, Corey. New one. Cal had to drop a play in clutch time. It was over. Go Cats. Well, Corey has his opinion on Cal drawing up the clutch plays, but you get 49 super chat. That's what you get. You get that type of opinion on that. But yeah, so I mean, I think again, like you said, bench points certainly played a role in this game, and I think overall, just I'm excited to see what Arkansas does moving forward with Big Z. Getting this kind of work offensively. As we said, I mean, I think just Arkansas is a team that's trending up. Davis still, I thought, played a pretty good game. Missed some shots, but I think you're still seeing that little bit of a swagger back a little bit there. Duke Thero, I mean, this guy first team All SEC right now. I mean, he's got to be close.
So consistent.
If we still had 9 on first team All SEC, he'd be there. Maybe hard to break it right now if his team had a better record, but my goodness. So that guy just keeps delivering. But Alabama's depth, man, we talked about it. It is just it's a difference maker. And when you just got these guys, there's so many different guys that can beat you for Alabama. And I think it's just kind of always the story with them. So
still don't have Darian Reed.
Also. Yeah, and still don't have their stud freshman. Yeah. So my goodness.
And
right.
It wasn't the best Mark Sears night either. And they still win.
Yeah.
I was just going to say that the only thing, because we have been giving Alabama their credit as they have deserved lately. They've been playing some big time basketball. The only thing I have with them is the turnovers are still, they're so good that it hasn't cost them except for that Ole Miss game. But it's not where I would like it to be on February 8th.
Well, look, they've had injuries.
Yep.
And we're sitting here. I don't think, we're talking about they've not always had the Mark Sears we saw a year ago. Clearly, to me, they've not hit their ceiling yet. And they still might be number one in the country on Monday, which is a little scary.
Yeah. You don't know how big this Alabama-Auburn game is next week. So everybody knows already, if you're following me on Twitter, I always put out the SEC standings as soon as the games are finished, either Wednesday night or Saturday night. This is how you know we're already gearing up for Alabama-Auburn. I've got a reply that says, why didn't you put Alabama first? Because alphabetical order, they have the same record, and they should be ahead of Auburn. That's how you know, baby. The stakes have never been higher when it comes to this game. Biggest regular season game in history between Alabama and Auburn in Tuscaloosa next weekend. Cinema, as I said earlier.
You know what they say about this game? They say you can get tickets as low as $277 right now.
Oh, scalper Chris checking in. Chris is out there scalping tickets already. Are there? You think Alabama fans are already lining up? Just like
I wonder what this is going to be by the time we tip off.
It's a week, though. You think, are they allowed to stay out there for a full week? That's a lot of Domino's pizza for a week. So.
Could this be a no? Could this be a the first of maybe 3, maybe 4 meetings between the Tide and the Tigers? Maybe possibly. In what you would say a bracket?
Well, there are such things as brackets out there. And to be honest with you,
you forgot your read.
If you add 4 letters on the end of bracket, not those 4 letters, folks. Don't use any other 4 letters. We're talking about bids. Bids is the 4 letters. That's BIDS. Bracket bids. Don't add another 4-letter word on the end of there. Bracket bids, which I'm sure is loving this read right now. We have been streaming for 5 hours today. I have literally streamed in 4 different locations. I've stood for an hour. I've sit for guys. I don't know how long. Right now I'm sitting on the floor. I'm sitting on the floor. That's where I'm at right now at 11:17 p.m. I'm on the floor. Okay. My back is against the wall and I'm sitting on the floor. But all I can think about is bracket bids. That's all I'm thinking about. Because you can take your college hoops experience to the next level with bracket bids. You can enter into their free pick'em contest or start an auction draft league with friends, family, or coworkers. Everyone starts with the same bidding dollars. It's up to you to outwit and outbid your league mates to secure the teams you think will go the distance. You can choose from multiple scoring models, including upset bonuses to reward bold picks. At least Chris will get something out of this. Track your teams with live in-game scoring. Watch the standings shift in real time. The further your teams advance, the higher you climb the standings. For league play, use that promo code SC16 for 40% off. Please, I'm tired of sitting on the floor. Go use the promo code SC16, 40% off. Download the Bracket Bids app today or visit bracketbids.com.
Blake is one step from being stuffed inside a pet carrier.
Man. All right. Let's continue on here. All right, so let's talk about this. We're gonna quickly run through all the other games because again, it's a little bit short of a primetime reaction. You'll get the full experience, just like Bracket Bids, in the power rankings on Monday. And milk crate. Give me a milk crate to sit on.
Yeah.
Give me a milk crate.
At least you're indoors for this one.
Yeah, it's sitting outside. Look, listen, I know, Tim, it sounds strange, but it's just I'm trying to get you like a pretty neutral background here, so that's the reason I'm doing this. And the way come on, Tim, give me a break here. All right, cut me some slack. All right. Anyways, let's talk about what we think the AP poll is going to be. We started this conversation a few minutes ago.
Yep.
Now, I heard Jimmy Dykes say on the broadcast, love Jimmy D.
Love him.
But I heard him say on the broadcast he thought it was going to be Alabama 1, Tennessee 2. I just do not see where that's coming from, in my personal opinion. Now, it's the AP poll. You never know what's going to happen.
Uh-huh.
But I don't know how you move Auburn behind Tennessee for losing a 9-point game at home to the number, what was Florida? 6 team in the country? I just don't know how that happens. So I think it's Alabama 1, Auburn 2. From there, I'll be honest, I don't know what the AP poll. You don't never know what's going to happen after that. But I think it's got to be My guess is going to be that order. Now, let me just quickly say resume-wise. We said this in the last stream we did. Resume-wise, there is still zero debate. Like, Auburn is the top overall seed by a mile. I'm just being honest with you. I'm not a bracketologist, but all the bracketologists I trust out there are all still saying the same thing. That's how big of a lead Auburn had built. Because remember, this is a team that still has, 12 or 13 quad one wins. The next closest team has 8 or 9, I think, now. So that's just...
I think Hunter's got it right here.
The way it works.
I think it's this. I think
that's the way I was thinking. I don't think Duke drops below 3, but I think Florida moving ahead of Duke is an argument I would make.
Yeah. Florida
just beat the number 1 team. They have 2 number 1 wins now. So I think Florida should jump Duke. But I think Alabama and Auburn are going to swap. I think, knowing the AP poll, I think that Alabama is going to move to 1. I think Auburn's going to move to 2. Now that's me predicting the AP poll, which is very unpredictable at times. When it comes to this kind of week like this, where you have so many teams that lose at the top, and you have just kind of that weird stuff around it. But again, it is what it is. To me, it's like flip a coin with some of these teams that are around these spots. But of course, I would also make an argument for an all SEC top 4 and move Duke back even further. But that's just me. So,
why do you say the AP will probably? Are you saying the AP will have Alabama there just because of that like recency bias? Like, this team lost, so we have to penalize them. Yeah,
Auburn lost, so they have to move down 1.
They have to. Yep. Okay.
I think that's what the AP poll does. Yeah. Yeah.
Now, if they kept Auburn at 1, if they kept them there, I'm not going to argue against that either.
If it was an NCAA tournament ranking, Auburn would still be at 1.
Right. Yeah.
If Auburn loses at Vanderbilt on Tuesday or Wednesday, Auburn would still be the top overall seed in the tournament. Like, that's what we're trying to sort of get across. Yes. Like, that is the type of resume this team has built to where, like, we were joking about it. We're like, they could maybe lose like 3 in a row here and still have a pretty good argument for the top overall seed. Like, that is just kind of what they had done. But I get it. Like, you can also say, well, they're losing games now. You got to penalize them. You can penalize them, but that's how far ahead they were. But again, the AP poll is not NCAA tournament seeding. It's a completely different thing. So
Lenardi gave his updated bracketology 3 hours ago. This was after the early window of games ended, and he had Auburn number 1. So this was before, or it might have been after. I think it was after. This was after the Auburn loss already. They had Auburn 1, Alabama 2, Duke 3, but then Tennessee 4, Florida 5. So I think the way it's going to shake out, Blake and I were talking about this earlier, it's going to be tough. There's going to be a lot of dominoes that have to fall in the SEC's favor. But I said this earlier on Twitter, just the fact that we can have the conversation of the SEC getting all 4 number 1 seeds, even the fact that conversation is able to be had is just awesome. Fantastic.
Yeah.
What does Donovan have here? I can't read that.
I know. My eyes right now are like fried. I can barely see any of this stuff. So, again, you guys can try to trick us for what we put on the screen. At Southeastern 16, think about this. Auburn and Alabama have never played a football Iron Bowl as 1 and 2 teams in the country. Absolute cinema we have coming up here, says Donovan. He's right. Cinema. So, there you go.
Man, what a watch-along that's going to be.
Wow.
The thing about Florida, too, the 2 wins over number 1 teams have come by combined 39 points.
Yeah. Man. Shout out to Nature. Happiness here. Probably a little bit happier now after, as he notes, 999 on the Super Chat. Saturday basketball. Yeah, what a Saturday. Ole Miss finished the game on a 13-0 run to win the game. How about that for Ole Miss? Wild. Wild for the Rebels.
Graphic right at the end. It was Ole Miss has 5 double-digit comeback wins this year.
Man.
Yeah. I think it's just the defense. Like, they can do it so quick, with a few turnovers, a few traps. They got the 3-point shooters, and then boom, back in the game just like that. But in this case, they got some favors too.
Hey, I know we were going to have maybe a shortened broadcast tonight. We've still got to get to a couple other games, don't we?
Yeah, we're about to get there, but we're not going to spend much time on
Look,
them.
I'll let you guys pace it because you're the ones that are up against more stuff than I am tonight.
Yeah, we're not going to spend we're not going to spend like 10 minutes on these games. Like, we're going to speed through. And again, whatever we don't hit, we'll get on power rankings. And if anyone wants to get upset, listen, we've streamed for 5 hours today. We've done our best.
And we have medal stand.
Sometimes it just works out this way. Great comment. Tim, real Blake Lovell, please stand up. Ties in multiple running jokes here, both Eminem and the fact that I'm not sitting in a chair. All right. Let's quickly get to the other games that we have not talked about today. So we do have some thoughts on them. Let me find it. Vanderbilt 86, Texas 78. We have not talked about that game today. Big win for the Commodores. That was a bubblicious type game. And we said it was important for both teams, especially Vanderbilt, knowing their upcoming schedule. I said earlier, I don't think Vanderbilt, they may play one non-quad one game the rest of the season. They have the toughest 5-game stretch coming up of maybe any SEC team in the history of civilization. It's brutal. And so Arkansas is the only game right now they would play at home that is a non-quad one game the rest of the way. Big win for the Commodores. Gives them a boost bubble-wise. Texas, I don't think it hurts them too bad, but they do drop to 4-7 in league play. Texas were kind of just, they got good balance. I mean, they had 7 players that scored between 8 and 15 points. But really, like, when was this game played? I feel like it was played 2 days ago. Vanderbilt was 17 offensive rebounds. Jaylen Carey with 9 of them. That was the difference in the game. We talked about the size difference, all that. Man, what a win for the Commodores at home.
Chris?
Got good second halves out of their lead guards, too. Hoggard and Edwards were really good down the stretch when it mattered.
Yep.
What did they do in the second half that really got him that win there?
Hoggard was 0 for his first 10 and started hitting shots, and Edwards hit a couple of circus shots too.
Hoggard, I think, was 4 or 5, wasn't he? Or however it worked out, but yeah, he started with 10.
Whatever the math. Nickel. When Nickel hits threes for them, which he hit a few today, they're a whole lot more likely to win. So yeah, just those 4 guys were. And McLaughlin fouled out for them, too, which usually is hard.
Carey had the best game of his career.
Yeah, Carey was the difference maker, no question.
He's really come on, guys. I remember that was my preseason pick of the year for sleeper guy, just because it was hard to pick sleepers. Most guys were either McDonald's All-Americans or high-profile transfers. It was kind of a shot in the dark, but that one is sort of coming around.
Well, he was kind of I don't know what the right word is, but he played behind a really good player last year at JMU and Bickerstaff.
Terrence Edwards. So, got a lot of okay, gotcha.
The big guy, Bickerstaff.
Yeah, and he and Edwards weren't the same, but Edwards was the headliner there. He was a player of the year in the league and all that. So, and he was a freshman, so
exactly
had to bide his time.
Yeah, like he's waited his time. Had the older brother at Duke. Carey's gonna be a force next few years. I didn't know that Tremont Mark was dealing with some injuries though.
Yep.
Now you've seen how much. So we've been talking about Texas and we talk about Trey Johnson, we talk about Kaluma, but now you see how much Tremont Mark impacts their winning. Last game against Arkansas, 0 points, only 1 assist, is barely a part of the action, and then doesn't play today. 0-2. So there you go with T-Mark.
Well, I mean, what a weird day. Injuries. That was the only time that injury didn't seem to help a team. And also one of the few times a home team held serve.
Yep. All right. Just quickly, upcoming schedules. Vanderbilt. I mean, absurd.
God help you.
They get an angry Auburn team at home on Tuesday, and then they go to Tennessee next Saturday, who will also be angry based on what happened the first time around, probably. So then they go to Kentucky the following Wednesday.
Might be
Not
angry.
the easiest stretch for Vanderbilt. That's why we said that was an important win. Meanwhile, for Texas, they got to start finding some wins somewhere. Good news is they got back-to-back home games. They got a chance to pull another big, kind of huge win like they did against A&M and Missouri. They get Alabama and Kentucky at home this upcoming week. So Texas wins one of those. All of a sudden, they're feeling pretty good about themselves. So we'll see if Texas can pull off the upset there. They really need to, I think. But really have winnable games after that. At South Carolina, at Arkansas, home against Georgia. Not the worst schedule in the world, I think, for Texas the rest of the way. So I think I still feel okay about Texas's tournament hopes here, just for the record. So, all right, let's move on. We got to speed through these a little bit. Uh-oh. Here it is, Max.
What'd you
Your shining moment. And a moment for me to say, sometimes you take a chance, you risk it, and pick with Chris Lee. And sometimes it just does not work out in your favor. Mississippi State 76, Georgia 75. Chris, would you like to get us started on this one?
Good, not great, was not good enough today.
Wow.
Claudio Harris hit a couple of big shots. Georgia just, man, it felt like the entire second half, they just needed a bucket to get ahead and could not get it, which might be a problem you guys have pointed out a few times.
Eli's here. Carlos will probably, if he's not here, he'll watch on the playback. Carlos, we know it was a big one for you too. State won the old-fashioned Jan's way today, where free throw shooting is illegal.
Think about that. Just seriously, think about that. A team in the SEC wins a game on the road against an NCAA tournament team right now.
Holy smokes.
And they only make 6 of their 18 free throw attempts.
Man.
For 33%.
Oh,
think about that.
That's good stuff.
That makes me feel even dumber for picking Georgia.
Max might put the entire Mississippi State team on the bully ball team just for that kind of percentage right there. So Eli says, wait a second. I've already thought about it enough. Let's not think about it again. Everyone but Eli think about it. Okay? Wow. But a great win for Mississippi State nonetheless.
Great Cam Matthews game. And not a joking stat line. Actually, Cam Matthews had a really good game today. He had 6 points, 4 rebounds, but 6 assists to only 2 turnovers. He had 2 blocks and 2 steals. Cam Matthews has really turned into their second point guard, or their second creator, if you want to call him that. I mean, he is, the assist numbers for Cam has been really good. 0 for 1 for 3 though. Cam, what are we doing hanging around on that 3-point line too much now?
He missed his foul shot, so that made up for it, Max.
It made up for it. You know exactly where I was going. Yep, 2 of 5 from the free throw line makes up for it. Cam Matthews with a good game. But the biggest thing here, I thought, for Mississippi State was the balance. You got 10 from Kugel, you got 11 from Nwoko, and you get that balance where it's not all Murphy and all Hubbard. When Kugel, Harris, maybe it's Melendez. Today it was Nwoko. Wasn't expecting that. But if Mississippi State gets their supporting cast some offensive production, that's what they need.
Well, by the way, people are going to pick on Silas Demary for the final play there, but Georgia's not in that game without Silas Demary. So let's not get ahead of ourselves here. I mean, he was really good in this game. So I know the final play, you're going to talk about this or whatever, but again, I mean, he had a good game. And so it is like, and we have our fun with the whole Georgia thing. And, yes, I'm not as high on him as Chris is, because for me, like I've said, it's kind of in the context of, I think it's going to be hard for them to find the wins. And that's why I thought this was such an important game, was because, now you are sitting there in the spot, and 4 of your next 6 are on the road. And it's like, at A&M, Missouri, at Auburn, Florida, but the thing is, at home, I mean, you're going to give them a shot to beat anybody based on the way they played. And that's why now here's what you got to do, right? Now you just got to go flip one of these games somewhere. And so can they do it? If they can, they're going to be fine, because I think they're going to have a chance. look, I think they'll have a chance to beat Missouri. I don't know if they match up great with Florida as we saw the first time around. I think they beat Vanderbilt at home, yes. So you just got to go steal one of these road games now, which you should be able to win at South Carolina. If they go steal one at Texas, that's another bubble type game, So they're just missing that extra something, and maybe it is just that offensive consistency at times. But a big win for Mississippi State because they were heading in the wrong direction as we said, and I just thought that was a great win for them to pull it out like that.
One shout out here. Josh Hubbard went over 1,000 points today, had a pretty nice game, 16 points, 6 assists, 1 turnover. That is amazing to go over 1,000 points first week of January of your sophomore year in a hyper-competitive SEC. The kid was the number 145 recruit at 24/7 out of high school. So amazing development by that staff. And, recruiting and development to find him and to make him and the guy that's just put up. You never see a guy rated at that level of recruiting that does that much that early into a career in this league. That's crazy.
Yep.
All
right.
So 58 games.
Yep.
And only 5 career games. Let me just make sure I have this right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, 6. 6 career games he has not scored in double digits. Out of 58 games.
I feel like about half of those were last month.
No, actually, he only has 1 game this year without double digits, and that was a 9-point performance against Vanderbilt.
Okay.
So,
all right. So upcoming schedules here quickly for these two. Mississippi State, huge game on Tuesday against the Gators in Starkville. The hump, as I say, the hump is going to be humping on
Eli
Tuesday.
will probably be there.
Eli's going to be there. Yeah. Eli says the hump's going to be rocking on Tuesday. No question about it.
Revenge game.
Oh.
Ooh. Nice.
Chris tipping his hat on who he's going to pick. Chris has got some work to make up, so he's got to start.
I might have to take a chance.
All right. Meanwhile, for Georgia, as I mentioned, at A&M on Tuesday, home against Missouri on Saturday. So Georgia's got to split the week next week. They got to keep splitting the weeks. That's what they got to do. So find a way, Bulldogs, and then I think they'll make it to the tournament. But I think, I'm curious to see what the updated bracketology is going to have that. I wouldn't be surprised if Georgia's like one of those maybe, yeah, or
maybe
getting
not
close
at all.
to being the first team out or something like that. But I think they'd still be in as of today. But I think they're getting close to that sort of Dayton spot, and so that but look, that's how quickly things can change in the SEC. We've talked about that. All it's going to take is one good win. All of a sudden, they're going to catapult themselves back into a 10 seed or something. 2 good wins, you're a 9 seed again. So that's just how it works. So long way to go. I'm not counting the Bulldogs out yet. I just want them to find those wins. They need them. All right. What else? Do we want to add any additional thoughts on Ole Miss LSU? Because really, we've talked about everything else. I think we kind of talked about that earlier too, but.
Yeah, if you didn't see it, the comeback was just almost unbelievable. But, I feel like there's been – how many teams have blown big leads this year? I think that's been a thing. Maybe it's just with more scoring, leads are more volatile, but –
or maybe this league is just – it's just a league this year, Yeah.
One thing about Ole Miss, though, just moving forward – that I've seen is the rotation has really tightened up for Ole Miss as these games have become more and more important. As they dropped those 4 out of 5 there, ending with that Auburn home loss before picking up these past 2 wins. But man, the rotation is really tightened up to really a 6-man rotation. It's really a 6. If you want to add in, Davin Barnes sometimes gets into those double-digit minutes, but it gets stopped off at Brakefield off the bench. There's really not much backcourt support off the bench, not much spark. Pedulla, Murray, Morrell, they don't really get much spark anywhere. So That's just one thing I'm noticing is they're very starting lineup reliant right now.
I just love what Pedulla gives them.
Oh, yeah.
No turnovers on the road tonight. Played 37 minutes, committed 1 foul. Like, he's just as... When's the last time Sean Pedulla just had a bad game? I'm not sure he's had one this year.
Yeah, I don't know. He ranks top of the SEC in pretty much every guard category you want.
Yep. All right. Quickly, upcoming schedule for Ole Miss. Again, in a good spot, 18-6, 7-4 in the league. At South Carolina on Wednesday. So they go from one tricky road game to the next tricky road game. That's never ideal, but maybe this was actually a good thing for Ole Miss to kind of sneak one away here, because knowing now you got that. If you're Chris Beard, you're talking about, all right, guys, now we're going to play this team at home who's just kind of been right there in every single game. So, yeah, I think that's an interesting one for Ole Miss. Then the rematch against Mississippi State next Saturday. We've got 2 big rivalry games next Saturday. Ole Miss, Mississippi State, Alabama-Auburn. I'll have to check the rest of the schedule. There's probably more. But, yeah, Kentucky, Texas. We'll look at the schedule. But, all right. And then for LSU, again, just trying to get back on track. Not the easiest way to do it. At Arkansas, at Oklahoma. All right. Okay. Let's quickly get to some chats. Then we're going medal stand, then we're out of here. All right.
Yep.
Let's see. Brandon asks, how many quad 1 wins do the Vols have now? I think Tennessee will now move up to 8 quad 1 wins. So, yeah, the win at Oklahoma, Tennessee's going to be at 8. A&M, by the way, just for everyone's reference, I think A&M, let's see. I think A&M's also going to be at 8. Yeah. So, yep. Kentucky will stay at 7 because South Carolina was not. Of course, Auburn's still at 12. Florida gained their 5th quad 1 win of the season. So, yep, that is notable there. All right. By the way, Unbiased Brim brought it up on Twitter. Thought the Southeastern 16 kiss of death was going to work for the Hogs. Did not happen. Unbiased
close.
Brim. We tried. We did our best for you.
They tried.
But, yep, they came back, fell short. It's all good. The Hogs still got a shot. They're back in the discussion. They just got to win some games. By the way, Mother Carol bringing up that her cats love free throws. I can see that. I think they can catch the ball on the TV. So, like, you get the snap shot, you throw it, and then the cats are chasing it, right? So I like that. We got to get like video evidence, Mother Carol, we can play on the show of that. So, yeah, we might try to put that on the show. So, all right, let's see. Skyler wants to know what are we doing for the Super Bowl, Max? Chris said he's got a birthday party, so we know what Chris is up to for the Super Bowl. I think Max and I are both going to be driving tomorrow, quite a bit. But I don't know what we're going to be doing for the Super Bowl. Yeah, so travel day, but I can get my bets in on the Eagles. You heard it here first. I'm taking a shot on Saquon, game MVP. Give me the whatever else. So.
I cannot stand the Chiefs, so instead of enduring a brutal game of rooting against Mahomes, I'm going to join the dark side.
Explain to me why people hate the Chiefs so much. I don't get it.
Chris.
Just because they win?
This show would go hours.
I know.
The refereeing situation, all of that. I'm not against the Chiefs. I just think there's something about the Eagles. So something about the Eagles. I'm taking a shot on the Eagles. I picked the Chiefs to win the Super Bowl before the season. The money is already down on the Chiefs to win the whole thing. This is where you hedge. You just bet the Eagles and you win either way.
Yeah, Battles collects notes. Chiefs get all the BS calls. I want to be on the side of the BS.
And listen, Chris, we know you're a Swiftie. So
you know me.
That's why you're the big Chiefs guy, because you're a big Taylor Swift man. So
you got me.
I mean, that's the thing. I mean, so Chris is probably the biggest Swiftie I know. I'm not going to lie to you.
Sure.
But, yeah. Anyways. All right.
Medal stand.
Medal stand. And then we got to talk about something that still gets me fired up, even at 11:45 p.m. Eastern on a Saturday.
Yep.
We'll get there. Medal stand, Chris. Hurry.
Bronze, Tennessee. Silver, Texas A&M. Gold, Florida. Bronze,
right.
Jaylen
Oh,
Carey.
Chris.
Whoa!
Chris.
See, I'm going the other way this time. You guys used to have to, guide me through it and tell me how it's supposed to go. I'm just going to jump the shark.
One at a
We
time.
do this every week.
One at a time.
Every week you try to disrupt the
I'm trying
flow.
to get our man some sleep.
Even Skylar's catching on. Other people know now. Every week.
I think Chris might be doing it on purpose now.
I think he is.
Yep.
All right.
So who was your team medal stand?
I don't even remember. He's
Tennessee, bronze.
This is ranking him for
Speak
next
slowly for Blake. Silver, Texas A&M. Gold, Florida, the Gators.
all right.
I am going to go bronze, Mississippi State. Silver. Had to get him in. Silver. Tennessee. Gold, Florida.
All right. I'll go.
No A&M?
I'll go bronze A&M, Tennessee silver, gold Florida.
They're gonna get one here for me.
All right, Chris. Now it's your turn.
Thank you. Thank you,
Players.
Blake.
Players.
The bronze medal will go to Jaylen Carey of Vanderbilt. 18 points, 14 boards in a win. The silver medal will go to Zakai Zeigler, who went something like, 17, 9, and 4 steals. 9 would be the assist. Don't have it in front of me.
Yep.
And the gold went to Walter Clayton, who I think was about the same, but it wasn't just the numbers. It was the fact that Auburn could not stop him in the first half and guarded the heck out of him in the second half, which opened things up for other dudes.
Okay.
Okay. I'm going to go bronze, Henry Coleman. He had his career high rebounds today. Congrats, Henry. 16 boards. Career high for Mr. Coleman. He's been playing a lot of basketball. So Coleman with the bronze. Silver, who was I gonna go? Oh, I'm drawing a blank. Dre Davis, because he had the tip in for Ole Miss to win that game. And then gold, Tommy Hawk. Tommy Hawk was an absolute monster.
Big
he was
time.
pretty much the best player on the court for the majority of that game. Tommy Hawk, gold.
What was the final? We had the plus minus on him. He was at 25 at one point. I think he was
incredible
still.
today.
It fell a little bit, but I think he was still game high there.
All right. It's really tough to cut this list to 3 here because I want to find a way to get Big Z in there. I want to find a way to get Jaylen Carey in there. It's just hard to do because I am going to go Zakai Zeigler with the bronze, Tommy Hawk with the silver,
Nice.
Walter Clayton with the gold. So
Nice.
there you go. Man, I wanted to get Carey and Big Z in there, but it's all right. All right.
There were some good performances today. We had a lot to choose from. There was one that I missed out on that I really wanted to pick. Who was it? That was I wanted to say something about Demary.
I know. People are gonna hate on him. Well, not most people won't, but there will be people who are like, "Oh, come on, the final possession." But that guy, he had a great game. Like
he was all over the place.
He was great in that game. So
yeah.
All right, Josh, 199 super chat. Chances the top 3 is all SEC on Monday. We said earlier, Josh, I think it should be. I think it should be Alabama, Auburn, in whatever order. I'm predicting that I think that Alabama will move to 1, even though I still think resume wise, Auburn is clearly the number 1. And then I think 3 should be Florida. But I think Tennessee. Yeah, I mean, again, I can make the argument it should be top 4, all those guys. So Tennessee could be 3 too. I get the argument for putting Tennessee 3 still and Florida at 4, but I think you can put them in whatever order you want. As we've said many times, I just don't think there's a lot that separates these teams now, and I think we're all realizing that when it comes to especially these teams in this tier. Which remember, where's A&M ranked? Is A&M ranked at where are they at? 10th
in the AP?
Yeah,
I think
10.
Give me A&M ahead of Duke. Like, come on, move them up ahead of Duke.
For it.
AP poll. Come on, cowards, put them up there. So
that might be the best basketball team to ever play.
Yeah.
Wow.
They might be.
I don't know where I was going with that.
You just kind of left your feet and all the passing lanes got cut off, didn't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, who cares? It's late.
Had to put it up.
Late. All right. Okay. Holly says, Sanders ad read and let Blake go to bed before he falls over where he sits. I'm not trying to go to bed. Max and I both gotta get up early. We're traveling. Like we've been streaming for 6 hours. We both can't even read these read these chats anymore. We're just throwing stuff up. We don't even know what he said. But I'll tell you one thing. Speaking of travel,
Nice. Yeah.
it is late. It's late on a Saturday night. But there's always one thing that gets me fired up. And it's not a Diet Summit Cola like Max Barr has.
Nice.
I'll tell you what it is. It's Sanders Logistics. They are the Diet Summit Cola of logistics.
I don't think that's where you wanted to go, Blake.
Hey, no, I don't
Are
want
you
any
kidding me,
smoke.
Chris?
This man's
That's
getting
absolutely
delirious.
where I wanted to go.
That's
Okay.
good stuff.
It's the best of the best.
Yeah.
It's a top tier product.
Yes.
Are you
Just
kidding
saying,
me?
I'm not sure that illustrates your point, but go right ahead.
I think it absolutely illustrates my point.
Okay.
It's the summit of moving companies
Well, there you go.
at the
Nice.
top, just like
Yes.
the Diet Summit Cola.
Yes.
All right.
This is
And
Carl Lewis says, I'll make up for it at the end moment.
I'd like to know who created the Diet Summit Cola. I'd like to know their name right now, Max. Can you find me a name? Who was the creator of Diet Summit Cola? I'm gonna Google it. I've never done this
think
during
it
an ad read.
was Freddie Danders.
Freddie Danders.
What?
I just put a different word.
just made
instead
that
of
up.
Sanders. I was
Fred
trying to do a word.
Danders
Fred
is
Danders.
probably one of the greatest people I've ever known because of the work he did to create Diet Summit Cola. I'll tell you who else is one of the greatest people I've ever known. Ted R. Sanders.
Oh,
Because, as we know, Sanders Logistics is formerly known as Ted R. Sanders Moving, a leader among moving companies in Nashville, Tennessee, and the surrounding area. Their team of professional movers who may or may not drink Diet Summit Cola are focused on delivering efficient, hassle-free moving at an affordable price. Max's consumption of Diet Summit Cola is efficient, it's hassle-free, and it is at an affordable price. So it all connects here. Whether you're moving across town or across the country, Sanders Logistics has you covered. Visit them at tedrsandersmoving.com. And there you have it.
I think Diet Summit Cola needs to be a sponsor here.
Oh, Fred
I would
Danders.
wear it.
We're going to give him a call.
Fred Danders. Who was the random mayor of Iowa we brought into it one time? Remember that episode?
I don't know. I was just thinking about when
How did we
Michael
get
Scott asks what
Corey, come
Dwight
on now.
Schrute's, what Dwight Schrute's dentist's name is, and he says Mr. Crentist.
Corey, this is what people pay for right here. Okay. They pay for this kind of talk at the end of the episodes. This is how we know if you're really dedicated, if you're still watching. And from what we can tell, 600 plus of you are still tuned in somehow, some way. So there you go. All right. We said we weren't going to go an hour. Guess what? We went an hour.
We can't help it.
All right.
Even
We're
when
outta
we
here.
try to not go an hour, we can't help ourselves.
Power rankings on Monday. Donovan, I agree. Duke would be the 5th best team in the SEC. Maybe the 6th. I think they'd be the 6th best team in the SEC.
Do you have the Aggies ahead of them?
I was going to ask who you would. Okay.
Give me Alabama, Auburn, Tennessee, Florida, Texas A&M.
Okay. Yeah, I was thinking maybe there was another one in there. Would you put Missouri ahead of them?
Little stitches.
Maybe not.
We've got some Office fans in the chat. Not superstitious, just a little stitious.
I don't know.
All right.
We'll discuss. We'll rank Duke in our SEC power rankings on Monday. How about that?
Right.
We all have to rank Duke somewhere. All right.
Okay.
That's the new rule. For power rankings on Monday, we all have to rank Duke somewhere. So we're going to see where they wind up in the rankings. Chris will be ranking Wisconsin and Iowa as well.
I was just going to try to get that in there. I was just going to try to get that.
Wisconsin won today, by the way, so they should probably be ahead of Iowa.
Good to know.
Okay. Yeah.
Yep. All right, let's wrap it up. I got to get the end of this UC Irvine, UC San Diego game.
Oh, go Anteaters.
They're down by 10.
Oh.
Parting thoughts, Max Barr.
Well, we don't have any.
I've given you 6 hours of them today.
I got no thoughts.
Now I'm just parting. There's no thoughts.
We spent 5 minutes talking about Fred Danders, who doesn't even exist. And, I mean, come on. You think we have something to add to the end of this broadcast? Are you kidding me?
Wrap us up.
I have something to add. Somebody asked if we were worried about Missouri. I'm really not.
No, not at all.
I thought that loss to Tennessee, that's one of the – I mean, they played really well. Lost by a field goal today in the last 2 seconds.
How could you be concerned? They lost by 3 at home to number 10 team.
I'm not.
Could be a number
just
1
saying,
seed.
Someone asked that in the chat.
That's my response.
I saw a post from maybe my favorite guy on the entire internet, Luke Evangelist, that Texas A&M stat. He actually reached out to me trying to link up, do a little video. Yeah. He's an absolute wizard, genius. You got to follow him. He goes, okay, listen to this. Against Oklahoma, it was the Zhuric Phelps 3 with 19 seconds left. Against Ole Miss, it was the Obaseki 3 with 12 seconds left. And then against Missouri, it was the Wade Taylor 3 with 2 seconds left. A&M has 3 different SEC wins when they were losing in the final 30 seconds and hit a 3-ball to win it. 3 different times.
3 different guys.
Yep. That's ridiculous.
All right.
That was my parting thought.
My parting thought is, yes, I currently cannot feel my left or right butt cheek. So it's time to get us out of here on this broadcast. Okay.
Your buttocks.
It's true.
Botox for
power rankings Monday morning.
I'm out of here.
All right.
See y'all then.
You've seen and heard enough. Have a good night. God bless you. For Max Barr, Blake Lovell, I'm Chris Lee. Thanks for watching Southeastern 16's basketball content. We'll see you again Monday with power rankings and whatever else. Have a good night. See you then.